do a quick intro here for Instagram. What's up, Instagram? I'm Yogi Chris, captain of IMC Nation. I'm here talking to you about AZD's Chosen Part 3. This is a training he's coming out with, starts tomorrow, and I'm sure I'll talk about lots of tech and things related to the Chosen so that you get a better understanding. That's what these channels are dedicated to, the Instagram, the Masculine Mindset YouTube, the TikTok, wherever we're streaming to is an IMC account. And so IMC Nation was founded by AZD. AZD is the guy I live with. That's the bald guy with all the face tattoos that does these powerful clips that we post everywhere. And he's a player among players, brothers. He is the top player on earth with multiple relationships with the kind of women that you would want to be in relationships with, in the kinds of relationships that you would want to have. Orderly, respectful, just so aesthetic and beautiful, growth, the beauty, the value, it's really amazing. And when, he came on the scene maybe like 12 or 15 years ago as a pickup artist and the pickup coach of the year 2 years in a row, and then he retired from the game. He was already killing it. He was beating everybody in the planet 15 years ago when it came to the game because he had an actual skill set that would get him the most beautiful women, hired guns, as we call it, like women that are hired for beauty at restaurants, at malls, at clubs, bottle girls, whatever. The more beautiful or the more prestigious, the better. And I'm sparing you the longer story, but he created a lifestyle that was better than any promoter you've ever seen, better than any Playboy you had to see. You'd have to compare it to like Hugh Hefner or Larry Flint or some shit. But those guys were selling their women's sexuality. And it's different. You would see like pimps also get a lot of women, and most of them don't get beautiful women. But that's not what this is. He's a player that just has righteous relationships. And over the years, he's teaching, guys, pick up game. It evolved into seduction, which was basically like relationships, how to keep the woman without losing yourself to trying to keep her. It's not in your code as a man to like, I gotta keep this woman. But at the same time, in today's world, you gotta lead her and guide her to salvation, essentially. Like, and that became the game, just became more ethical and more tight. It was tighter game. What I mean by that is like when you would pick up a woman, you would do it with the end in mind. Like you could still have some short-term pickup and like you go for sex or something like that. But more and more as AZD had multiple relationships, like your reputation follows you around everywhere when you have multiple relationships in the city that you're in. So how do you continue to get women? Well, the women know you're getting women, but like what is your method of picking up a woman? Like if somebody was watching from the outside, would they applaud it? Would they cringe? What if your girlfriend were watching it? What if multiple girlfriends were watching it? So that's what happens when you're gaming a city that you live in and you have a reputation there. Like you'll become stifled in your expression of masculinity because so many eyes are on you, especially the more and more famous you get. And I mean, he had multiple relationships in San Jose, so there's a lot of eyes on you. And so the game became very tight that you weren't chasing a woman ever. You weren't thirsty or hungry over a woman. And he didn't, I don't know how much he had that in the beginning anyway, probably none or very little, because to express too much interest too soon repels a beautiful woman. So obviously the interest gets pulled back, but the integrity, when you're in the limelight, like if you're a celebrity or something, and you have cameras on you all the time, if you have girlfriends all around in your city, it just has to get calibrated like that. So he's at the cutting edge of the evolution of that game of seduction and relationships, long-term relationships. So he's teaching guys over the years. Eventually, over several years, someone like me, I move across the country and create a house with them. I get a house, sign off on it, get some other students there. AZD's living there. We're living with him. That was about 4 or 5 years ago. After a few years of doing that, he comes across, I think I actually introduced it to him, but in whatever way, he comes across a guy named Jesse Lee Peterson. It's this black preacher who basically trolls guys, but in a very righteous way. Like he has an incredible philosophy about emotions and demons and anger and the devil, and his interpretations of the Bible is just really cutting edge. He's kind of a square when it comes to women. I mean, he's righteous. He's a dope guy. Like we highly recommend, AZD highly recommends Jesse Lee Peterson. But AZD comes in his own lane. He's a player, and he integrates this information from the Bible and the ideas of Jesus, and it's a totally different interpretation than what you've probably seen, because all the Bible thumpers you've ever seen were terrible with women or perverts, which is again terrible with women. Like that's what Bible thumpers become. And AZD comes in as a player with multiple relationships and just brings more order to his relationships. And I know because I was living with him. I saw the girls coming and going. And so many of his relationships are for many years, over 8, 9, 10 years. And that era of his teaching came to be known as the Chosen, which is a term in the New Testament. And there's lots of TV series and movies and stuff about the chosen, the God's chosen people. But he labeled that camp that he did the Chosen. And he did it, and it was amazing. Tons of testimonies from it. Everybody had like a huge leap in growth. And it was really innovative in the pickup arts and the dating community. Um, because of how he was able to use the Bible and make his relationships even better. I mean, it's just to even talk about what AZD is teaching, I got to keep hammering home like the level he's at with his game. It's just incredible. The ability to listen, to know what to say. And he would probably say something. It's not like he knows what to say. He's tapped into the beingness or something like that. He's connected with the Holy Spirit. Well, however he teaches, it cycles through different kinds of teachings that I have labeled as Yogi Chris, the right hand man, the guy who organizes all his trainings and everything, into these different sort of pillars of his teachings. That over the years, I've noticed that he's basically covering like maybe 6 or 7 different topics and going into detail in each one. And then it just naturally transitions. He'll be like, and now I'm teaching this, and now I'm teaching that. And he'll transition into that for 4 weeks, for 8 weeks, 2 months, 4 months. Like he'll be in some kind of section and he'll teach these different areas and he kind of cycles through them. Each time he gets to that thing that he had taught before, he goes deeper. He has more understandings from all the other experiences he's had since then. And all the while, he's top player. He's the guy that has the grounding of the reality of multiple relationships with high value women for many years. And that's really important. Like some guy was sending me, he's a student of AZD's, and he sent me a clip of this other guy who's a dating coach, doesn't get women, but is really known in the dating community. I'm not going to name the guy. And, you know, it wasn't a bad clip. Like, great video production. The information the guy said was good, you know. But there's a beingness of how he's delivering it. And I've seen the guy in person just a couple times. I haven't really interacted with him a little bit, but like very little. And, you know, in learning from AZD, one of the things that happens is you start to notice what the real deal looks like. Like the more and more you know, study AZD, like you watch these clips, there's a lot of haters on these clips. Some of the clips on Instagram, they're getting hundreds of thousands of views now. And so they're getting hundreds of commenters, maybe even thousands in some cases. And it's amazing. So many of them are haters, just like out of nowhere. Just somebody, I guess it's on the explore page on Instagram. And they just feel compelled to comment some shit. And it doesn't affect me. I just keep scrolling and I get to the comments that are, you know, praise from people. But, uh, what was I saying with that? Um, the chosen tech, orderly relationships. Oh, oh, what you're watching when you're seeing the clips of AZD, this tattooed motherfucker with a grill sometimes, and is a player. That's a guy that has a lot of women, so many women, bro. And it's not drugs, it's not throwing money, it's not whores, it's not loose women. It's not a constant rotation of women. That he has a rotation because he's got so many women, but those are regulars. Those are relationships. It's not just like one and done, two and done kind of thing. Like he's a relationship guy who has multiple relationships. And you could go to his personal Instagram, is in the bio on my Instagram, and check it out for yourself. He doesn't really post his women too much. You could scroll down a lot and you can see he used to post his women a lot, like just even a year ago or 6 months ago. So they're there. They're still the same girlfriends, you know? Like I said, I live with the guy. So it's my job not to just like say it over and over that this guy's so great and I live with him. But every now and then, periodically, I got to remind you, like, who am I? Why are you listening to me? I'm the guy who saw his video on YouTube or Facebook 10 or 11 years ago, got involved with whatever his digital products were, decided to visit him in person, saw the real deal Holyfield happening. Then I see other top coaches, the senior coaches. I see some of the rookie coaches too. The this guy, the that guy, the people that you've known. Some people have over 1 million followers, and they're so cheesy. They're really bad in person. So I saw the OGs and the masters of the game, and they're great. And in the beginning, they all seemed kind of equally great to me. I could tell something was different about AZD. Obviously, he had the actual results of multiple relationships in order with him, like under him, obedient, like well-behaved women that seemed to keep getting more beautiful and better at communicating over time because I would see them on live streams and they became more confident. Like they would improve as beings. They weren't just trophies on the trophy case that just like sat there and collected dust. Like they were organic beings also, and but they acted like trophies around him when he's in public around his guys and students or whatever. And that was just so cool to me. And the more I studied from all of the guys in AZD, the more I saw the difference between AZD and all the guys. And the most senior coaches, the guys that you've known about, and they're the teachers of the people that you've known about. And there was just such a separation. He's better than all of them by heads and shoulders. And um, so I was saying, so the chosen tech came about as a means of handling emotions and uh, just understanding more and more the genetic code. It just fell in line with everything he was teaching. Oh, so I'm saying all of that because what he's teaching, why should you care what he's teaching? It's because the game is amazing. I witnessed the game with my own eyes and senses, how amazing he is at it. And what does that mean? That means go into any venue and the most beautiful women he gets. Sometimes you might go in a venue and you might find that other woman more beautiful. She got bigger tits, or the girl that's with AZD is a little too thin or something. It's like at the end of the day, she's gorgeous. And he's practicing what he preaches, which is the same thing that I'll say to you guys. Go for the girl that hella looks up to you. Don't just go for the prettiest girl. Go for the girl that falls in line with you. And one, she will get more beautiful. We've seen it with our own eyes in field, which means like when we're at a venue, a girl that's like she's kind of cringing, or she just has a look to her, maybe a heaviness, or she looks like heavy emotionally. And after 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes of interacting with us or one of our guys, she's brightening up. She gets more and more beautiful because he's listening. The guy is a student of AZD, and AZD knows how to listen. And he demonstrates every day because the guys that have moved here to Las Vegas, a lot of us are in class with him in the physical room, and the cameras are switching between him and us, and there's actual interactions happening. So live on class, you witness how he listens, how he catches somebody's illogic, or he hears more in what they're saying and asks them a question about it, and he starts to unpack their mind. They open up, and it's amazing. Like he demonstrates his game on class every day with guys. It's the same kind of listening skills and speaking skills and leadership skills, so far advanced that it's hard to even call them skills because it's not like he's writing them down and like here's a skill list. You need to learn this technique and that technique, and he teaches techniques, but they're very organic techniques. And what does that mean? It's like as he's living, he notices that he's doing something. Oh, there's the technique, and then teach it because it's so successful at the highest level with women, with multiple women. That's one of the things that happens when you have a survey of women and a lot of women you're interacting with. You start to see what's common with them all, and then the differences. And then add to that, you study the books, the surveys, the psychology, mass psychology of of hundreds of thousands of people, data points or whatever, and you start to see there are commonalities among women everywhere, and then there's uniquenesses. There's uniqueness of culture, uniqueness of race, and then uniqueness of like just the person, like their life experience or whatever. But there's commonalities. There's stuff that's in common for all women. And AZD is an explorer of that. We're all an explorer of that. That's what the Mastermind Daily Class is every day. We're talking about our interactions, what we've noticed. It includes body language. I said this, they said that, I said this, the situations, multiple relationships. This came up, and then at higher and higher levels, what we've discovered is that deep relationships are going to bring out the demons in her. That when she starts feeling and she gets vulnerable and she's following you like God wanted her to, she's got demons, bro. The idea of angels and demons are very real to us, and it's a perspective that works when you see the evil and the darkness and the shadiness and the lies and the miscommunication and the all sorts of manifestations of evil in a person, and the language and the perception of good and evil, angels and demons, is the chosen tech, and it works. It's one of those things that you need to know to have deep, meaningful relationships with women, or you're going to crash. You have an illusion that there are people having successful relationships, and it's just you that has to learn game. Oh, if you don't learn game right now, you'll figure it out because, man, lots of people figure it out. Wow, what a spell that's been cast over everybody because it's really a delusion. Nobody is doing well in relationships. I have yet to see one. What I see sometimes is early part of the relationships, kind of like what they call the honeymoon phase, some respect. I mean, it's dignified. I do see elements like maybe occasionally there's some couple that they carry themselves really proud, or there's another couple that she's on him affectionately, but again, that's the honeymoon phase. You might see something where uh he is kind of her preacher, or she looks up to him for advice about this or that. But still, she's controlling his nuts. Still, he's emotional. Still, she's leading a lot of the time, and she's a nervous wreck, and she stops caring for herself long enough. Or she's in some kind of poly type of shit. That's again, it's rare that that even exists. But she's in that, and it's real sloppy. It's messy. It's not something I would want, and it's not what AZD's doing. So it's a myth that people out there have good relationships. And if you think that your parents have good relationships, it's a myth. If you think that the friends you grew up with have good relationships, you're living in a myth. I invite you to really look at it. And you got to clear your palate a little bit because you're so used to bickering, you're so used to the woman putting the man down that you may not even notice it or perceive it as she's being disrespectful, that he's in a relationship where she disrespects him. You just might not notice it because you're so used to it. And that's a pity, man. That sucks. And I'm sorry for you. Like, and all of mankind really that not able to see that. Uh, what a shame. But that's what we get when we have AZD because we have a guy who's demonstrating dope relationships. And we have students like myself who live with him and can validate he's got dope relationships. One of the guys was on like a double date with him today, a new girl. And it's dope. You hear him reporting in about it, and it's like it's dope. Like the game is so real, and he's so transparent about it. There's enough eyes and ears and witnesses that this isn't just some make believe UFO that went by the sky, and I can't prove it happened. Like there's a guy with just two arms, two legs, and speaking English. He tattooed himself. Yeah, okay. He's 48. Okay, so he's has time. He's had time to build businesses and have life experience, but it's not just that. There's lots of 48-year-olds. There's lots of guys with tattoos. There's lots of guys with grills. That it's not that. He's 5'7", cauliflower eared. Like, there's guys that have similar credentials to him, but just nobody that has his credentials in relationships with women. You know what I mean? And so that is what gives credence to the teachings. It's one of those things why it's difficult to really sell AZD to new guys. To the guys that are already in the program, it's very easy. Here's a boot camp, or here's this, or here's that. Here's some content that he did, and they already know that he's so dope. Just even paying that first $47 to get in the daily class is more difficult for many people than paying $4,000 for some training. Because whatever the reason is, first of all, you're so normie. You're so square out there in the world. There's maybe some of you that aren't, so if you're not, then don't take it offensively. But if you are, again, don't take it offensively because it's just the truth. Where you're at with women and your level of dialogue, I mean, I would invite anybody to just dialogue with me on stream. And I'm not even claiming to be world class, man. I'm on a world class team and I'm the team captain. So take that for what it is. But the game, you have to be willing as a man to admit that one, game is important to you. Hey, I'm 22. I can come up with this. I got $800. You can come up with what? What is it that you want to come up with? You need a photo, bro. If you're 22 and you got $800, you should have an Instagram bio pic. Okay? So, I was saying, oh, for a guy to get in the daily class, you got to be willing to admit that game is important and you want to learn game and that you think you can learn game. Once you admit that to yourself, that having fulfilling relationships with the women of your dreams is important and it's worth like looking into and investing. Then you have all the coaches of the world to look at. And why you would go with anybody but AZD is either A, You're a slave to some ideas. Like I can't, the face tattooed guy, I don't want to learn from. A guy that curses, I don't want to learn from. Like just some personal hangups that are really weak as a man. It's so weak of you. Like, don't let that be the reason. Let it be that I don't agree with what he's saying, at least, but not just judging a book on its cover. That's just so weak as a man. Your kids will be slaves too. Uh, or B, you're just weak. You don't want to be as alpha and expressive as him. You have a lot of hangups. You have sensitivities, liberal snowflakeism in you, where like words affect you or somebody's alpha aggressive energy triggers you. You'd like to go with a softer, more soft spoken dating coach who can teach you a 3 step, 6 step, 5 step, 10 step process to getting the dates of your dreams. And you're uh, not very perceptive because if you looked into those guys, you would see that they don't get girls, but you're getting fooled by the shortcut because you're like a kid in a candy store. You're going for the candy instead of the wholesome food. So, and that's what AZD's game is. It's a whole lifestyle shift in perspectives on your wake up, on your daily routine, on your study habits, on your going out, socializing habits, and then of course all the responsibility of communicating how and when to communicate, how to express yourself. Again, like how to listen. That's his game. It's just telling stories and listening, and then dressing cool. You know what I mean? That's literally his game. Now, to do that, because sometimes emotions happen, it's hard to say the right thing if you're like affected by some shit. So it's state control. You got to be in control of your state of mind, your state of heart, state of being. And in the exploration and practice of state control, he came across the chosen tech. How to really overcome your emotions, not just do some clever tricks of the mind and body to like become not emotional, but actual tech of the spirit and mind for how to overcome all emotions, which are feminine, and really lead. And that's when the relationship started humming at a high rate because there was no drama in Eight Girlfriends or whatever, because everything's righteous because of the teachings of the chosen. So that's what he's teaching. He's about to do another camp on that. It's the chosen part 3. Powerful training. I recommend it for everybody. But like I said, the guys that, if you're not in the daily class, it's a pretty tough sell to say, here's for $497, $500, get this advanced training. It's going to be 12 lectures. It's going to have some audio files. You listen to them over and over, and you'll have these recordings forever. That's a tough sell for a new guy. He has no idea, like, why should I learn from AZD? But you know what's interesting is it's just as tough to get that guy on the $47 class. Yo, show up every day, 10 a.m. You have a link. You also get the recordings every day. It's only $47 a month. And he'll teach you freeing philosophy that'll make you more charismatic. You'll get better results with women every day you show up. This is, I validate it. There's tons of guys that validate it, hundreds of guys on the program. And that's difficult for guys to buy. So cheap that they're not even willing to gamble $47 on this game for whatever reason. Some guys, they just discover AZD today on the Explore page. Fair enough. Other guys, they've been watching for years, bro. They saw him on YouTube. I mean, I've been around for 10 years. AZD's had content around for a lot of years. Some guys have been watching for a long time and they're still not on the daily class. Terrible. Terrible. You have disagreements and or you have a lot of weaknesses in you. Distractions that $47 because but then I come in. It's my job to transfer that certainty that what you need is the way he conducts class and the teachings he gives in his daily class. You become more present and you, in a way, not like Eckhart Tolle or some Osho or some shit, people who didn't get women, not like AZD. I mean, maybe Osho gets women as or did because of a certain phenomenon of being a spiritual guru, but that's a very special kind of game, if I was even going to call it game. Like AZD's game is any man. You don't have to become a spiritual guru of a huge movement. You just go somewhere where there's women and interact with them. And your game is you will get them because your conversation and interaction skills are so much better than every other man that she interacts with because of his teachings that you'll just stand out. You'll be like a head above everybody else and she'll notice you. The better your game, the more you stand out, the more she'll want to be with you. It's just about being the most precious commodity in her life. And that's just a philosophy and understanding her as a woman and how to interact with her. The highest levels, that's the chosen tech. Because at the highest levels of relationship, you're dealing with evil. There's evil in her, there's evil in you. And you need to know how to overcome that and not just more tricks and tips and game. six-step process and reply when she says this, you say that, and then she says this and you say that, and like scripts. That's all fake game. And the people that teach that, their relationships are trash and they tank, fall in the dumps. AZD, I mean, he's had breakups, but just like I said, many of the women have been around over 9, 10 years. So the main girlfriend's been around like 18 years and she's still gorgeous. They're all gorgeous. You know what I mean? He's validated. The tech is validated. And you should learn his tech. Every single piece of content you ever buy from AZD will be worth it. I've never had a piece of tech that didn't add to my game in a good way. It's not just adding on information so you get clogged with information. It's just rewiring you so that you game better. And this is that. Okay, everybody? I'll see you on the next stream. Thank you for your attention. J Guru Dev, and I'll see you.